Oh, shit. Testing 1, 2. All right. Most of it. All right. Let's get started. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Snow style. Testing. Okay. All right, let's get it on. All right, Shalom Israel. Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakathum to the brothers. Yahweh Shamar of the Thumb by Hashem Yahweh Shai to the sisters. We got Tuesday Brotherhood class. What we're going to be talking about today is the identity of the Israelites, right? So we have a lot of talk that's going around with people having confusion or being threatened on the true identity of Israel. And we're here, and we've been here since 1969. The Isupk under Commander General Yohana teaching that all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true children of Israel. You know what I mean? Our God's chosen people were given the covenant by the Most High, you know what I mean? Given the promises by the Most High, and were put in order to keep those promises, to live our lifestyles under the law of the Most High. Now, if you've been told, you know what I mean, because it's a lot of new subscribers that we got. If you've been told that, you know what I mean, that the law is done away with, and you've been lied to. You know what I mean? The law is forever, and the law is supposed to be kept forever by the people who the Most High gave the law to, which was the children of Israel, which were Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? So we're going to get into it. We're going to get into majority, we're going to get into prophecies and curses. You know what I mean? Because in order, a big way that you want to identify who God's chosen people is, you can get into it with ancient artifacts or the history of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But all in all, you want to get into the prophecies that the Most High put into the Bible, the biblical side of the perspective of God's chosen people. Because, you know what I mean, you can go through history all day. History's been tampered with, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean, the Most High's words, they here to stand true forever. You know what I'm saying? So we want to get into prophecies and curses in order to, that way you can really get an identity of who God's chosen people are. The Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. So, okay, let's just get the background in. Who are Israelites? Israelites are the descendants of Israel. Who's Israel? Jacob in the Bible. You know what I mean? Jacob's name was changed into Israel. When Jacob's name was changed into Israel, you know what I mean? He was going to be the one who was going to be the progenitor of the 12 tribes of of Israel, which were supposed to be God's chosen people. Those 12 children that he was supposed to have were going to be the progenitors of each nation of God's chosen people, which are supposed to be 12 nations, right? So, okay, with that, let's get into, you do curses first or prophecies? You do curses. Could I get Deuteronomy 28:1?
John.
Sean?
Sweat, Deuteronomy, you said Deuteronomy 28:1. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth.
Okay. Wait a minute, sorry. That's not the curse. The curse starts at 15. That's a prophecy, but we can go from there. This is a prophecy that sent that we were supposed to do. You know what I mean? As we're, like it says, we're supposed to follow the commandments that he's commanded for us on that day. Okay, so from that day we were supposed to follow his law, statutes, and commandments, and it was never supposed to ever stop. Only reason that we're going to get into the curses is because it's going to explain to you is because we decided to disobey those commandments, right? But let's keep getting into it. On verse 1.
John.
I'm sorry, I said verse 1, chapter 1.
You said on Deuteronomy 21 or
28 in verse 1.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Above
all nations. Okay, so this is not an equal playing field right here. You know what I mean? The Lord wants us separated. He wants the 12 tribes separated. You know what I mean? That's why they call us the lost tribes, because even to this day, in this day, we are still surprised on why brothers are being blackballed by calling themselves Jews. You know what I'm saying? We're still wondering today why brothers are being blackballed because they're calling themselves the 12 tribes. This is the reason why, because they know that we're as lost as, you know what I mean, these curses prophesied to be, or these prophecies prophesied to be. You know what I'm saying? They know that we're just that lost. We don't know our heritage. We don't know our background. All we know is that, well, I mean, being a Negro, all you know is that slavery happened and that was it. You know what I mean? And they tell you came from Africa. Okay, what happened during that time period? You know what I mean? What tribe are you from? What country are you from in that continent? Where are you from? They don't tell you anything about none of that history. They'll give you some nonsense and BS and make it seem as if all nations came out of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So all in all, the Bible is separating the 12 tribes from all other nations. But yeah, you can keep going. I think it's verse 2.
Verse 2. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee if thou shalt hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God.
So these are the blessings that will come to you if you were to, if we all come in accord and all get back into this covenant, which is prophesied in Jeremiah. You know what I'm saying? When we get back into the covenant, getting back into the promise, these are the blessings that's going to happen to us in that time period. This is what's prophesied to us in Deuteronomy. Go ahead, Amor.
Verse 3, blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kin, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Okay, so we could compare that to like the wealth and riches that we see today. You know what I mean? Brothers having mansions and living in Calabasas, and you know what I mean, living in their own gated communities and having properties and having just extreme wealth, and not having a care in the world when it comes to the things that they're blessed with. You know what I'm saying? That's what is supposed to happen with Israel. You know what I mean? Israel was supposed to have one of the greatest kingdoms that this world has ever seen. You know what I'm saying? So if you think that America is great now, if you think that our oppressors are living lavishly now, just think about how fruitful that Israel will be once we step back into the law, statutes, and commandments. Once we get back into following what the Lord wants us to do instead of following what our own lust and our flesh wants us to do. You know what I'm saying? Once we open our eyes as a people and know that we are supposed to be the ones who have our own particular culture, and we stand as Blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics all together as one, and we work as a unit. You know what I'm saying? We work as a unit, and we work as a nation within ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because you got all these different nations. You know what I mean? All you can do, like Hamites, they could just say, "Oh, I'm African." You know what I mean? They're gonna feel some type of bond towards that other African because, oh yeah, I'm literally from Africa. You know what I mean? So they feel some type of pride within themselves. They feel that pride within their heritage. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that they're just one people. You know what I mean? So if an African's sitting over there getting beat up in the street and another African coming to help, who do you think he's gonna help? You think he's gonna help the other nation that's beating up the African, or he's gonna help out the person who he knows that he shares an identity with? You know what I'm saying? What do you think he's gonna do? So that's what Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have to do also. When you see your brother on the street struggling, when you see your brother on the street, and you know what I mean, you don't look at your brother like you want to kill your brother, or you want to harm your brother, or you want to rob from him, or you want to worry about what set he's from. You don't want to look at him like that. You want to look at him like, oh yeah, that's my brother. If he needs help, then I'm gonna help him if I'm able to. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of the laws within itself that the Lord was that Christ was talking about. Christ was saying that, you know what I mean, love your brother like you love yourself. When he's talking about your brother, he's talking about your nation. You know what I mean? Being Black, Hispanic, and Native American. So this is a blessing that's going to be on us once we step foot back into our kingdom, once we get back into our homeland. You know what I mean? Once these prophecies come in and we are back at rule over this world. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen to the children of Israel. We're going to have one of the greatest kingdoms that this world has ever seen, and the kingdom will never ever go away. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead. Oh, well, you good? It's lucky. What was that at? That was
verse 4.
That was 4. You can go down to 7.
Verse 7. The Lord shall cause thy enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. So
we will be untouchable. You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at all the battles that happened when the Lord was with us, we were untouchable. I mean, when you look at the walls of Jericho, the battles with Joshua, you know what I'm saying? The battles with Moses. When you look at all when the Lord was with us, we were untouchable. You know what I'm saying? We would win. We would win all the time. You know what I mean? Look what he did for Samson. You know what I'm saying? How he gave Samson that gift of being able to kill thousands. You know what I'm saying? With shortly slim to none weapon with him. You know what I'm saying? Like when the Lord is with you, you're untouchable. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it's going to be when we step back into this covenant. The Lord is going to show us exactly how much He really loves us as a nation. You know what I'm saying? He's going to show us exactly how much He really loves us. And we don't really have a clue of what that could look like because we spent so much time in hell, sitting in hell in poverty, under these curses, which we're going to get into in a minute. You know what I'm saying? But we spent so much time under these curses, we don't know the true feeling of what it is as far as when the Most High really puts His foot down and really shows His people off. You know what I'm saying? Because we will be an example unto how great of a God He is. You know what I'm saying? Right. The way that the lavishness that we're going to live in, the ways that we're going to live in is going to be a representation how great He is as a power, right? You can go ahead, Alvin.
The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thy hand unto, and He shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
Okay, so we gonna get our land back. Let me see. And this is just talking about the prophecies, but we can go down to you can go down to 12.
Verse 12, the Lord shall open unto thee His good treasure the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thy hand, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
You can keep going till you get to 15.
God. And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them.
So we have to step back into our covenant. We have to step back into our covenant. We have to realize who we are as a people, and we have to start living in that way. We have to push the Lord's hand to get us out of this oppression. You know what I mean? And the only way that we can do it is by showing our brotherhood towards our people, understanding who we are as a nation. You know what I mean? Not allowing people to keep on deceiving us as people and making us seem lesser than. You know what I'm saying? Because really, the world knows that we are above all of them. You know what I'm saying? No other nation could have went through the trials and troubles that we went through and still managed to be successful within our oppressor's nation. You know what I'm saying? No other nation is going to sit there and have to go through a time that's like the Trail of Tears. You know what I'm saying? And be able to still rise up and become millionaires and wealthy people within their oppressor's nation. No one else is going to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is what we do because we are special unto the Lord. You know what I'm saying? We're special. We're special people. And we need to start identifying ourselves as such. You know what I'm saying? And stop looking at ourselves as if we're just like the average Joe. You know what I mean? Because of what we see on day in and day out. The reason why we see these things is just what Deuteronomy was telling us. You know what I mean? Because we weren't following those laws. The Lord said, if we follow these laws, this is what's going to happen to us as a nation. We're not there right now. It's because we decided not to follow those laws. And that's a prophecy in the Bible. So let's go to Jeremiah 3 and verse 7. This is I think this is a curse.
Jeremiah 3 and 7.
Jeremiah 3 and 7.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 7. And I said, after she had done all these things, turned out unto me, but she returned not, and her treacherous sister Judah saw it.
So this is talking about, let me get there with you actually. So this is the comparison that the Lord is making on how he feels when Israel decides to turn away and to follow other heathen nations and heathen gods. You know what I'm saying? In this particular chapter, the Lord is comparing us to his wives. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about Israel and he's talking about Judah. He's talking about the 10 tribes and he's talking about he's talking about the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. Okay, so let me get there real quick. It's 3 and what was that? 3 and 7. Yeah. So he's saying the treacherous sister, which being us as a family, he's comparing us to his wives, and us serving and learning different heathen customs and different heathen different heathen gods, and worshiping those things, worshiping Christmas and Easter and birthdays, and you know what I mean, all those different things, like eating the things that they eat as far as crab, shrimp, lobster, and doing all these unrighteous things that we were taught not to do within the law. This is what the Lord is comparing us to. He's comparing us to a cheating wife, okay, laying in bed with different gods, with different customs. He's comparing us to committing adultery, and to think and to put your mindset into that particular metaphor. Like, how would you feel walking into your home, seeing the wife you love laid up with another man? Right. In bed with another man? You know what I mean? This is how much the Lord loves us. You know what I'm saying? This is how much the Lord loves us. And so much so, when we get into it, you know what I mean, he's going to tell us that even in our adulterous ways, because it's not just Israel. Israel cheated, and then her treacherous sister Judah saw it and still managed to cheat as well. Do the same thing that Israel did. Start laying in bed with different gods. So Judah's going to do the same thing. So this is how much. This is the how can I say? This is the backstab that we did to the Lord by laying in bed with different gods when he gave us a promise of a kingdom and of riches and of a stable lifestyle and wealth and you know what I mean, and power. You know what I'm saying? He gave us a promise of all these things, and we still decided to lay in bed with different gods. Now, if you look at us as a nation right now, Israel's identity, you know what I mean? Look at us today as a people. We can't even have, you know what I mean, we can't even have like groups, like hoods and stuff like that. What's happening in those hoods? The dude that you thought that you was gonna die for, go to jail forever for, same dude is sleeping with your wife, sleeping with your girl on the outside of those bars, on the other side of that soil. You know what I'm saying? You sitting over here dead and gone, putting your life on the line for a brother that is not even, you know what I mean, not even how can I say, true to you. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have any covenant with you. So you are pretty much putting your life at risk, putting your freedom at risk, putting your children at risk, putting your family at risk because of a group of people who are not even willing to, you know what I mean, not even sleep with your girl. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't, like this was happening throughout any gang throughout all of the world. You know what I'm saying? That's just our in all of our Black, Hispanic, and Native American communities. You can't even trust the people that you're around on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? Because even that person can stab you in the back. Right. You know what I'm saying? And there's plenty of stories and plenty of situations and cold cases of these situations happening. You know what I'm saying? So this is just how we act in our righteous ways as a people in general. I mean, this is not just something that's just happening, it's biblical. But where did we leave off on? We on verse 8, right? Or are we still on 7? And Judah saw it. No, we're on verse 8.
And I saw. Did you want to get a priest?
Come on, yeah.
And I saw when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. So
the Lord cut off Israel, and Judah seen what happened with Israel of them being cut off. You know what I mean? The northern kingdom, the Lord cut off the northern kingdom, and the southern kingdom seen it and still did the same thing even after seeing what the northern kingdom went through after the Lord cut them off. You got something?
Good, priest. I just wanted to add, man, like you see that going on today. You know what I mean? Like the issues between Judah and Israel, right?
Right.
It's like I'll bring the example: Negro only Israelites and Latino only Israelites. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like both sides think the other isn't, an Israelite because of how they live. I just seen this argument with the Negro only Israelites. Like they say that Mexicans are not Israelites because them being descendants of the Aztecs and the Mayas and all the indigenous people, that all the sacrifices, all the things that the indigenous tribes, their practices and whatnot. That's why they're not Israel, as if
as if we was any better.
Right. It's a cat speaking. I don't know, the video got taken down, but it's with Officer Lahab and some cats and some group. I don't know who they are, but they try to come at him and try to use that.
Oh, okay.
And then Officer Lahab cut him because he told me, telling me, because he said like, oh, Mexicans did all this and that. So I was like, you telling me Black people aren't doing the same thing right now?
Right. I think they call them wobbles or something like that.
Not like these. Yeah, right.
Those Blacks are indigenous. And
well, these were Negro only Israelites.
Negro only, yeah. So I mean, you got plenty of those though. I mean, I think Black, Hispanic, and Native American Hebrew Israelites. Well, as far as like fake Israelites, I think it's like 2 of them. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else is just all the self, pretty much. I think, but freaking that's biblical. That the separation, which I got that too, for one of the prophecies, but the separation is biblical. You know what I mean? The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom going at war. You know what I mean? After King Solomon, that's what we do today. They even made it into the laws of the land within the prison system. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm for sure that our oppressors set that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm for sure that our oppressors set that up. But they try to keep us separate in any way, shape, form, or possible. Because any type of, oh yeah, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans forming together and being a unit, they are completely powerless. You know what I mean? Because it's us who they live off of. You know what I mean? Obviously, like with the whole entertainment system, the everything, like, you know what I mean? Everything that they condemn as cool or hip or something that is profitable comes from us. You know what I mean? All that stuff comes from us. They don't create things to make themselves as wealthy as they are. They have to use us and our labor in order to gain that wealth. That's how they be able to can't become such a wealthy and flourishing nation, because of our suffering and because of our sacrifice, because of our labor. They had to literally put all of us into slavery. It wasn't just black people, you know what I'm saying, that was hanging on those trees. You know what I'm saying? So they had to put all of us into slavery. Sure, they started with Native American and Hispanics first. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? It knowing the history and knowing that this is what happened to our people is a way to identify of who God's true chosen people are. Because we're not going through this hell just because we're lesser than. We make them who they are. We made this nation what it is. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be this great without us. And it wouldn't flourish as much without us. It wasn't because they were just excellent at the oppression that they were doing. They were great at the oppression, but at the end of the day, they took advantage of what made us special. You know what I'm saying? They took advantage of what made us special, and they flourished through it and made themselves one of the greatest militaries, one of the greatest, you know what I mean, one of the greatest oppressors that we've seen since the time of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? But okay, so let's see. Okay, so Judah saw, and then what happens? Judah saw it, and then verse 9. Oh no, is it verse 8? I think we saw on verse 8. Oh no, we're on verse 8.
And I saw, when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. Okay, so the Lord is comparing the deception that we did to adultery. You know what I'm saying? And he cut us off. He cut us both off. You know what I'm saying? Because not only did Israel started first, but Judah sat there and watched Israel do what they did, look at the repercussions of what happened when Israel was cut off, and still managed to turn around and do the same thing that Israel did, which was commit adultery, lying in bed with different gods, right? So verse 9, we probably stop at 9. Matter of fact, 9 through 10, and that's it. John. And it came to pass through the lightness of her whoredom that she defiled the land and committed adultery with stones and with stocks. And yet, for all this, her treacherous sister Judah have not turned unto me with her whole heart, but verily saith the Lord.
Okay, so that's a prophecy that was supposed to happen as far as what managed to happen of why we got cut off. And that's what we did. We were cut off, and the Lord took his hand away from us as far as, you know what I mean, him being with us and him managing our stability and everything like that. He took his hand off, and he allowed these other nations to get a hold of us. You know what I'm saying? To get their hands on us. And what happens when another nation gets their hands on God's chosen people? The same thing that always happens. They abuse us, they enslave us, they oppress us. You know what I'm saying? They murder us, they rape us. They do exactly what they want to do, because they're mad they have a self-hatred, not a self-hatred, but they have a burning hatred within them from birth. You know what I'm saying? For who you are as a person, for the covenant that you have. It's a burning hate. For you to even say that you are a Jew too, which is what you seen Kanye say. He didn't even say that they weren't Jews. He just said we're Jews too.
Right.
And for him to even try to compare himself to them, he was taken out of the billionaire club. You know what I mean? He was stripped of his riches. You know what I'm saying?
If I could, not to Zach, I just want to add this, man. Like, that's crazy. That comes to show you, how do I say, how subtle this oppressor is, man? Because they made it seem like Kanye, lost out big. You know what I'm saying? Because he went from being a billionaire to a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like trying to make it seem like, oh, he, like he's doing bad now because he lost,
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, that just comes to show you how subtle. I mean, how's he doing bad? He still got his millions. You know what I mean? Right. But y'all want to portray him as, oh, he's doing horrible. He's gonna do bad now because he lost all his money because he said what he said.
For them, though, I think they're just making him more easier to get to.
Right.
They got the whole tax system and everything like that. Like, I mean, it's hard to tax a billionaire like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just tax him $2 billion and just be like, oh yeah, well, I mean, you didn't pay your $2 billion worth of taxes. Like, nah, they just trying to get him into a position where they can tax his ass real quick, but throw up some bogus old tax. So you violated your taxes or something like that. This way they can really try to hit him where it hurts. But oh no, he's not part of the ISUPK, so he wouldn't know how to stand or how to, defend himself when it comes to an attack like that anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're built in here to take it down to our last breaths. You know what I'm saying? We got to endure to the end.
Right.
But I mean, he wouldn't know that because he's not trained under, Commander General Hammer.
Right.
So it's easy to fold when, it's not really a life or death situation for you. This is more so just information to information for them. It's a battle between information. Right. But all in all, at the end of the day, we're the ones who have to, gird up our loins and fight to the death. You know what I'm saying? That's our position in here in the ISUPK. So, I mean, all I can say is, it's great. It's great to see the world paying attention to it. You know what I'm saying? It's great to see the world paying attention to it because it's the talk of the town. It's a great setup for something else to be set up, but it's not the end all be all. You know what I mean? It's like a rumor right now. Like, oh yeah, well, Kanye was saying something. We don't really know what he was saying, but he was saying something, and it was against the Jews. Now we want that message out there. You know what I mean? We wanted that all oppressors of the devil that the Bible speaks of, and then we want that message out there that the ISUPK is the home of the truth. We want that message out there that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are God's true chosen people. We need that full, right to the point. You know what I mean? No ifs and buts about it. It is no, oh, we all Jews or nothing like that. Nah, we want the whole truth and nothing but the truth. You know what I'm saying? But let me see.
If I could preach, I just want to say that, I'll say this, man, like, that's why, what is it even? I forgot what the scripture say, but be quick to hear and slow to speak, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I done seen, like I would have never thought that, like Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, what they're saying is unless I learned it from the men above me, I would have never known or thought that was, our prayers being answered, the prayers we do where we say, open up the internet and the airwaves.
Right, right.
It took men above me to teach me that, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what's heavy about it. And of course, everybody was condemning Kanye at first, like coming at him saying, like, oh, stick to entertaining and whatnot. But now, like, like everybody's coming at him, and we, like, the brother in the world. You know what I mean? He doesn't know any better. He doesn't know, like, he hasn't learned the truth yet. You know what I mean? Like, he knows about being an Israelite, but he doesn't know about the other part of it, the brotherhood, the keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments,
exactly,
doing your 90 days. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and that's something that, like, a lot of people in the world, I always thought this, like, everybody knows they're an Israelite. As much as even the people fighting us out there, they know deep down, they know that we're not wrong.
Right.
They just need us to be wrong because whatever spirit they got in them, whatever they're fighting, doesn't want them to come into this lifestyle, doesn't want them to come into this wild. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So they need to fight. The demon in them is fighting us. so that they stay inside that, inside them.
That's a fact. That's a fact too, because we were just speaking about that. You know what I mean? Everything that they're saying isn't wrong, but because of our ignorance of not being able to study and know the words that they're pushing out there, you know what I'm saying? Hold on, try to make it work, okay? But us in our ignorance of not knowing what the words that they're using to manipulate us, like using the word Jewish. You know what I mean? You're not saying you're the true Jew. You're just saying you're something like it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can't. You're stepping away from any type of accusation that you were telling a lie, because you didn't say that you were the biblical Jews. You were just saying you were Jewish, something like a Jew. You know what I'm saying? You're saying anti-Semitic. You're saying anti-Semitic because who is Shem? There was only 3 men that were able to appropriate on that boat. You telling me that the Jewish man was the only one nation that came out of Shem? No, there's many nations that come out of Shem. You know what I'm saying? So I can speak hate to a Chinese person to be anti-Semitic. You know what I mean? I can speak hate to a East Indian to be anti-Semitic. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Out of all the nations that come out of Shem, you can't just say, "Oh yeah, you're being anti-Semitic because you said something about me personally." Like, what you're saying is that I'm not being anti-Israelite. I'm not being anti-Israel. I'm not being anti-God's true chosen people. I'm not being anti-Judah. You had to choose Shem because you don't really come from that bloodline. So you had to choose Shem. Shem is the progenitor of many nations. You know what I mean? The East Indians, Arabs, the Chinese man, the black man, the Hispanic man, the Native American man, the Jewish man, the white man. Like it's many nations that come out of Shem. So how can I be anti-Semitic if I'm just particularly speaking about you? So you're not really saying anything that is identifying you as God's true chosen people. What you're doing is telling the truth that you're not that. But you didn't say I'm being anti-Israelite or being anti-Israel, anti-12 tribes. You know what I mean? Because you know that you're not that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, that's a heavy point too, because you know what I mean, it's like our ignorance is just being our ignorance on the Bible and Christianity and this Catholic Church and Islam and everybody's teaching us all these different, you know what I mean, things of us sleeping in that's sleeping in bed with different gods. You know what I mean? That's what it is of committing adultery. It's following those ways of all those different religious groups and different heathen cultures and all that stuff like that. That's what it is on sleeping with other gods. You know what I mean? Committing adultery. That's what we did. We sat over there. Now we're so ignorant to the fact where people can throw out those terms to us, and we'll just be like, okay, well, obviously he has a point that we're teaching hatred, when really it don't even make no damn sense. How am I teaching hatred when, you know what I mean? Like, you're just telling me that I don't know nothing about the Bible. And you're telling yourself that you don't know anything about the Bible also. And then you're also saying that you are also not really God's true chosen people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because Shem is not the covenant wasn't given to Shem and everybody that comes out of his loins. You know what I mean? The covenant was given to the children of Israel. The covenant is given to the 12 tribes, you know what I'm saying? Right. Which we just read. You know what I mean? If we was to follow his ways, then we would have this covenant. We're going to get back into Jeremiah also, into us getting back into the covenant. So for the ones who are trying to make it seem like, oh yeah, well, you were cut off. See, no, the Lord also loved us enough to put us back into the covenant. And that's what we're working for now in this body. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get back into the actual true laws in the Bible. Not trying to teach that you can rape a heathen or rape a adolescent. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to teach these terrible things that these people who try to act like we are, try to take the same identity that we are and try to teach their own lustful and terrible ways and try to add it to scripture. You know what I mean? Nah, we're not teaching none of that. We teaching straight out of what the true culture is in the Bible for the Israelites, not nobody else in the Bible, for the Israelites. And that's it. Okay? So let's get into Zephaniah 2:1 real quick.
Book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
So, O nation not desired, gather yourselves together. Who's more separate than anything? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Right.
The Lord is saying, gather yourselves together because we are separate. If I was a Jewish man, I ain't got to worry about not gathering myself together because they're together more than anything. They can call another Jewish man and get a loan from them without worrying about interest. You know what I mean? They can call another Jewish man and say, hey, I'm down short about a couple of thousand. I need this and I need that. And then they can expect, because they come from the same bloodline, that they are going to get help. The so-called Jewish man, if I may. You know what I'm saying? So they can expect that they'll get help from their own people because they are not separated. They're together as a nation, and they work together as a nation, and they oppress us within what we do for them. They oppress us as a nation. All that they get reparations together as a nation because they are together. You know what I'm saying? So they get their reparations from America or Germany. You know what I'm saying? Because they're together. But who's not together? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? We're the ones that are separated. We're the ones who treat each other like we're enemies amongst each other, even though we live in the same hell and the same poverty under the same oppressor. You know what I mean? The reason why we treat each other like that is because we are separated. And in the book it says, gather together, O nation not desired. Who's the least desired nations on this planet? You know what I mean? Look at how they doing our kids at the border. Look at how they doing us in these jail cells by we being the most populated people in the prison system. You got something I want?
Yeah, if I could, I just want to say this, man. Like that kind of lets you know something, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you look at who's the nation not desired, right? Like, how does that apply? I would ask this: like, how does that apply to the so-called Jewish man?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it kind of looks like, you know, you have to desire them. You're not even allowed to not desire them. You know what I mean? If you don't desire them, you're labeled anti-Semitic.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's a whole word that goes with it.
Meanwhile, you know, like it's okay to not desire so-called blacks and so-called Hispanics. You know what I mean? Nobody stops. You know what I mean? Nobody stopped. Bring up Kanye West, right? Because this is what's going on right now. Nobody stopped Kanye West or cut out their ties with Kanye West when he said, you know, slavery was a choice.
Right.
When he wore the White Lives Matter shirt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody said, you know, cut out their ties with so-called Hispanics, you know, or labeled, you know, hate crime bills for Hispanics when the street vendors are getting assaulted, when our kids are in those cages, when our people are getting heckled for speaking Spanish, which is another colonizer language.
Right.
I mean, you can't even wear, you know what I mean? Like, first of all, so-called Hispanics, you know, like have been, you know, so indoctrinated they hate themselves if they look indigenous. Right. You're not even allowed to wear, you know, you rock your indigenous braids on at the workplace. And the same thing with the Judite brothers. You know what I'm saying? With black, so-called black, you can't rock your braids at work. Right. It's deemed unprofessional. And you know, like that comes to show you. Meanwhile, you see the Jewish man, he can wear his yarmulke, he can grow his beard, he can wear those whatever those things are called on the side of his head.
With no shame.
Right, with no shame, and no one's gonna say, you know, call it ugly or say anything about it. Right. But they'll call your braids ghetto. Right. They'll call you, you know, a savage. Right. It's a lot.
Nah, that's heavy. That's heavy too, because the things that make us that we put into our culture is deemed as ghetto or ignorant or something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the like you said with the braids. Like there was a time period where you couldn't wear natural hair at your slave. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like they would tell you gotta go home and change it. They had to come up with a whole law just for people to be able to, just for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to be able to wear their natural hair to work.
So like, not to Zach, if I could, please, why do you think so many, you know, so-called, you know, Hispanics and so-called Latinas are dyeing their hair blonde? Right. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them have dark hair, but they want to dye it blonde, right? Because they don't want to look indigenous. Exactly. You know what I mean?
And these old hair hat wigs that they got our sisters wearing, you know what I'm saying? Right. With the blue and the pink and the, you know what I'm saying? They want you to be anything other than yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because that's why the cosmetic companies are making billions and billions of dollars, because because our women want to be everything but themselves. You know what I'm saying? They want to look like anything but themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like plastic surgery and cosmetics is at an all-time high because women our women can't stand the way that they look. You know what I'm saying? They can't stand the way that the way that the Lord, you know what I mean, identifies them to look. You know what I'm saying? Like you tell a woman that she can wear a small skirt and, you know what I'm saying, look like a whore, high heels, you know what I mean, 9-inch heels, nice little weave, makeup all patched onto her face, big old eyelashes. You tell her to wear that stuff like that, she gonna feel proud of it. But you tell a woman to cover up, you know what I mean, to cover up her body, to wrap her hair up, she gonna look at you and wanna beat you down. Like, you know what I mean? Who is you to judge me? That's the way that she gonna look at you. But that's only because of, you know what I mean, we're a nation that's not desired. You know what I mean? The ways of the Most High is not desired on our people because we're so busy trying to be like the heathens, right, or be what the heathens want us to be. Because I rarely see them being the same thing. You know what I mean? They can be who they want to be. If they want to be modest, they can be modest. If they want to be whores, they can be whores. They can be what they want to be. But we're the ones who it's recommended on us. And if you want success, you got to be like the Cardi B's and the Megan Thee Stallions. And you got to be like it's recommended for you to be like this because you can't be yourself. You can't try to be a wholesome, modest, you know what I mean, virtuous woman, a Black, Hispanic, Native American woman out here because that's not attractive to us. That's not going to be something that's going to get you out of the ghetto, get you out of poverty. That's going to be something that you're going to be like, you're going to be boring. You're going to be bland. It's not fierce enough. It's not feisty. Like, it's like, so us being in our culture and our, like the way that we walk around, you know what I'm saying? We walk around with our fringes, you know what I'm saying? Or we walk around with our headpieces. Like, people looking at us like, damn, you look crazy. You know what I'm saying? But this freaking top hat with these two little pixie curls to the side, that don't look crazy. That looks like, oh yeah, I'd identify, I know what that is. I know what that is. I can see who that person is. I know who that person is. But us rocking what we rock, you know what I mean? It looks insane. It looks crazy. You know what I mean? All because of that. That's why that verse is super heavy. You know, it's heavy what you was talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the things that we do as a people, the things that we show, you know what I mean, as a people of our culture is looked down at. And that's because we are a nation that's not desired. That's a way that you can identify of who God's true chosen people are. Because, you know what I mean, you can't, like you said, you can't say one word. You can't even attach yourself to other people's cultures, or they're gonna label you anti-Semitic. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't even attach yourself to their culture, let alone to completely show and hold proof of why they are not that person that they claim to be. But you can't even attach yourselves to them. You know what I'm saying? So that just shows that you're a nation that's not desired. So let me get verse 2 real quick.
Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 2. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you.
And we already know what that day is. You know what I mean? That day is coming sooner than we think also. You know what I mean? Even though we, like, it's so many signs to show that time period is pretty much already upon us. You know what I'm saying? But it could happen at any day now. The day of the Lord's anger, the day of judgment. The Lord's telling us to get together before the judgment begins. You know what I'm saying? And everything that's going on, as far as you knowing exactly who the true man of sin is, as it's spoken of in 2 Thessalonians, you know what I'm saying? When you can see who this true person of sin is, and you see that he's trying to crucify your people, trying to punish your people for getting the information out there. Not saying that all the information that they're saying is true, because I'm not a Hamite. And right. I think Kyrie identifies with Hamites. You know what I'm saying?
So like, could I piggyback to something?
Oh yeah, you good.
There's something you just said that's heavy, man. You just said you're not a Hamite, right?
Right.
And the reason why I wanted to just add to what you're saying is because, as I mentioned earlier, you have what's called a Latino-only Israelite, right?
Right.
And their whole thing is that they're trying to say so-called black people are Canaanites.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Which is, like, the proof that black people are Israelites is in the persecution that they're facing when they claim to be Jews. Kanye West and Kyrie Irving are making that evident.
Right.
Meanwhile, in Africa right now, where there's actual Canaanites, right? They're embracing that Jewish culture. There's Ethiopian Jews, there's Nigerians claiming to be Jewish, and the Jewish man is not coming down on them. No one's shutting them up. No one's, ridiculing them or persecuting them for professing themselves to be Jews. Meanwhile, if you're a black man in America, you're called a black Hebrew Israelite. You're labeled a black identity extremist. You know what I mean? You're in a hate group. So tell me, like, how like if they're fitting second Maccabees, where it said it was unlawful for a man to profess himself to be a Jew. How does that make them so-called black people Canaanites? You know what I mean? It's a lot, guys. I just wanted to add to what you were bringing out.
No, that's good too, because when an African or Ethiopian or whenever any of them step into the whole Jewish culture, they're known as converts,
right?
Somebody who's trying to be like them. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's why it's detrimental that we understand who the 12 tribe chart what that really is. You know what I'm saying? The Dominicans, the Cubans, the Colombians, you know what I'm saying? Panama, like, you know what I mean? Brazilians, like, we know all of the nations who are considered God's chosen people, because it's easy for somebody to try to manipulate and make it seem like, oh yeah, well, since all the Jews were black, then the Ethiopians got to be Jews as well because they're black, or the Nigerians got to be Jews too because they're black. But the skin pigmentation doesn't make you the nation who you are. You know what I'm saying? A Nigerian knows that he's Nigerian. An Ethiopian knows that he's Ethiopian. A black person calls themselves African American. You know what I'm saying? A Hispanic calls themselves Latino or Latina.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Knowing that these are all titles that were given to us from our oppressors. You know what I'm saying? That's all they are. They're just titles that are given to us from our oppressors, and they were given to us in our oppression and in our being conquered and being enslaved. You know what I'm saying? That's where these titles were given to us at. But it's not who we truly are. You have to have 12 lost tribes in order. You have to be lost in order to be part of the 12 lost tribes. Everybody knows their identity but us. You know what I'm saying? And some of the Jewish people, I'm assuming, because they think that they're actually part of the tribe of Judah. You know what I'm saying? Which there's 12 tribes. They think that they're only part of one. You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't make sense within itself. We're the other 11. So let's keep it moving. We just finished that one off real quick. Oh no, we already did. Okay, so the Lord wants us to get together before the day of his judgment. And it's detrimental that we take everything that we see today as far as people's eyes being open and the knowledge getting out there, you know what I mean, and put it out there like, okay, well, let me just look into it. Let me just find out what these brothers are talking about. You know what I'm saying? Let me study and see exactly what's going on. Then you'll see the battles that we have on these street corners, or you'll see the battles that we have with these other different ideologies, and you see that we are undefeated. You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna push you into a position of wanting more interest into whatever it is that we got going on, and then you actually open your eyes up, like, you know what I mean? Hey, you can't beat the record. It's 0-1,000 or 1,000,000. You know what I mean? As many battles as we had, we haven't lost one. You know what I'm saying? But let's keep it going. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 37 and 15.
Which one? One more time, please.
Ezekiel 37 and 15.
Ezekiel 37 and 15. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 15. The word of the Lord come again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions.
So this is the separation as far as what these sticks are a representation of the 12 lost tribes, right? And he's taking a hold of these sticks. One stick representing Judah, one stick representing Joseph, Joseph being like Manasseh or Naphtali, you know what I'm saying? Another stick representing Ephraim, which are, you know what I mean, the Puerto Ricans, or Ephraim can be represented as the 10 tribes as well also, you know what I'm saying? So he's saying, take these sticks, right? And do what with them? 17.
And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand.
So the Lord is saying, it's going back to what we was talking about in Zephaniah. The Lord's taking these sticks that represent the 12 tribes and put them together, which is what needs to happen with us. You know what I'm saying? Put Ephraim, put Joseph, put Judah, you know what I mean? Put Benjamin, put all these nations back together. You know what I'm saying? Which is what's going to happen. You know what I mean? These are prophecies that's in the Bible that's going to happen. There's going to come a time period where Mexicans stand with Negroes together, ready for war. There's going to be a time period where Puerto Ricans stand with Mexicans, stand with Dominicans, stand with Cubans, stand with, you know what I mean? Stand with Jamaicans, with Haitians. We're all going to stand together. We're all going to have our identity, and we're all going to be ready for war for the people who took it. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to stand together. And this is prophesied in the Bible. So the Lord saying, gather yourselves together. We're bringing out who God's chosen people are. Now it's just up for us to wake up. You know what I'm saying? And the tribe of Levi, they got a taste of that when the brothers went down to Mexico to help those people, those brothers and sisters out. You know what I'm saying? The tribe of Isupk got a taste of it when those brothers drove out there and they went out there to go help those people out in that city. You know what I'm saying? They're not used to having people show up like that. It was so much to the point where they had to put it on the news. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't used to seeing somebody come out to help a person who was so much at need as well, because their country was destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Their territory was destroyed, and they went to go seek help. So they ran out into to Mexico, and they're in that area looking for some place of, you know what I mean, some place of comfort, some place of peace. And you know what I mean, they're not going to expect it from our oppressors. Obviously, our oppressors are the ones that's trying to capture them and take them back to their land. You know what I'm saying? But our brothers went out there. We went out there with food, with water, with clothes. You know what I'm saying? And that's a sign, and that's a showing, and that's a doing of something that's going to get our people to start waking up. You know what I'm saying? To start waking up and to want to start actually following the ways of just looking into the ways of what we're doing here. You know what I'm saying? When we tell a Black, Hispanic, and Native American that they are God's chosen people, and that we need to stop being separated, we need to stop fighting each other, we need to stop being at war with each other, and we need to get together in order to overthrow the powers that be. You know what I'm saying? The powers that keep us in oppression. That's the only way we're going to do it, is when we get together and we stand as a unit instead of standing as you're this and I'm this. You know what I mean? Neither one of us know our backgrounds. You know what I'm saying? All we know is where we were at before we were conquered. That's it. We don't know what happened before that. We don't know what but the Bible does, and the Bible brings it all out. You know what I'm saying? But you're not going to get that in the churches. You're not going to get that in the mosque. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get that anywhere else other than here, right here in Isupk. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to be led astray from a person who calls themselves a Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying? With all these fake camps out here, they'll sit there, like you said, there's camps that sit there and just think that all people of melanated skin tone are Hebrew Israelites, and there's some people who think that all people who are just Latin are Hebrew Israelites. But all in all, that just goes within the prophecies of how much we are, separated. But it's time for us to get back together. Hey, Shalom of Christ. What's going on, New Dream? But yeah, so where we leave off at on that one? 9, right? 19?
19.
We can go down to
we were at 18.
No. I think we just finished 19 and made them.
Oh yeah, kind of Salakia.
Or was it?
Yeah, no, you're right.
I might be wrong. Let me check.
Nah, make them one stick and it shall be one in my hand.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we're on 20 now.
Now, verse 20. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before their eyes.
Keep going.
And say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land.
So the Lord is prophesying that, he's going to take us out from our oppression of the heathen, which we see today,
right?
Where we're at today. The only reason that you're in America is because you're oppressed, because you were conquered. And the only reason that the so-called white man is ruling these nations is because he conquered, the 10 tribes, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Within the oppression that they gave us, they were able to run this territory because they stole it, and now they've been able to bring us over here and bring the southern tribe and be able to oppress us within that. Okay, so all of it has to do with being under the curses that the Lord was telling us that we was going to be a part of during that time period where He turned His hand from us. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we were having to come together. That's why we're having to come together now. That's why the loss it's time for us to be found. You know what I'm saying? Because it's time for us to get out of this oppression. It's like real quick. I'll be right back. Oh gosh. All right, so lucky. But yeah, so what was we at? Did we read 21? Oh yeah, bringing them into their own land. So that's another prophecy within itself. We're not into our own land yet. You know what I'm saying? The people who live in our land, in Jerusalem, in Israel, you know what I'm saying? The people who live in our land, they're not supposed to be there. This prophecy already shows that. The Lord is going to bring us into our land. You know what I'm saying? Once we get together as a nation and that day of anger comes, the Lord is going to bring us into our land. That time period hasn't came. That's why they can't believe in Christ. Right. You know what I'm saying? Whew. Hold on. Man, I was running. But that's why they can't believe in Christ, because Christ is saying that there is going to be a day of judgment, and in that day of judgment, it's going to be fire, smoke, and blood. You know what I mean?
Right.
We haven't seen that day yet. We haven't seen the sky crack yet.
Right.
We haven't seen the chariots come out. You know what I'm saying? We haven't seen World War III yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But all this is prophesied in the Bible. So if people are living in our homeland, then obviously those can't be the true chosen people, because it's not. We don't just come into our homeland by just walking in there and getting reparations. No, we're going to get in there through war, through fire, through smoke, through a wonder that the world has never seen. Chariots all throughout the sky. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like it's going to be a sign of wonders, is what the Bible's saying. You know what I'm saying? And that day has not happened yet. So how are the chosen people in that land right now? They can't be. Where are they at? They're still in oppression. And how are we here? Through oppression. You got something?
Salak, I was just gonna say real quick. You know, it's crazy because, or Salak, piggyback for what you're saying. It's heavy. It's heavy what you're saying now because it's like, you know, our people focus on the wrong things. You know what I mean? Like people want to, you know, people like want to discredit the Bible and want to say it's a book of fairy tales because they believe, you know, they think, you know, they understand, you know, when Moses saw the burning bush, they think, you know, they're trying to mock him for seeing the burning bush. You know what I mean? For Christ turning the water into wine, for the dead being raised up. You know what I mean? Like they're waiting, you know, like they want to worry about, you know, like the punishments that people suffer for committing sins, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people don't see the bigger picture right of the Bible is brotherhood and sisterhood. You know what I mean? Like we're too busy, you know, waiting for, you know, the chariots, waiting for, you know, all these things to happen when we don't look at the, you know, at what's going on in front of us. You know what I mean? Which is the suffering and oppression of our people, man. Like, you know, like look at that black and brown man in your ghetto, in your barrio, you know what I mean? And be a brother to him. That's more of the point of the Bible. You know what I mean? Love that, forgive that brother, man. You know what I mean? Stop, you know, stop plotting against him. Stop spreading lies about it. Stop doing your brother wrong. You know what I mean? That's the bigger point of the Bible. Because of those things, because of you doing your brother wrong and not loving him, you're not united with that brother. And that situation is the same thing for all of Israel. You know what I mean? And Israel wasn't united as a nation because it gave up its brotherhood. And thus, in giving up its brotherhood, it turned its back on the Lord. Because what's that scripture saying out this side? If a man say he loveth his brother, he loveth God, but hateth his brother, he is a liar.
Right. Yeah, he's a liar.
You know, because the people can't understand what that means, that to love God is to love your brother as yourself. To not do that brother wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when Israel turned to its wickedness and turned on their own, they turned their back on the Lord. And, you know, and hence, you know, you lost the Lord's protection and all these other nations were able to come in and oppress us.
Right. Exactly.
You want a miracle. You want to see a miracle, man. Well, shoot, forgive your brother. That's the start right there. Let that brother live. Spare his life, man. Don't harm him. You know what I mean? That'll be a miracle right there. You can learn to love your brother as yourself.
Right.
But you want to, you know, people want to actually see actual miracles. Well, your brother, man, you and your brother, you know, like getting along together for once. When you see, you know, Norteños and Sureños, like, come together in brotherhood, that's a miracle. Exactly. You know what I mean? We see Crips and Bloods come together in brotherhood, that'll be a miracle.
Man.
It's a lot, guys.
No, that's a fact too. That's a fact too. Shoot, what we got? 10, 20. All right, well, let me just get Jeremiah 3 and 12.
Come.
3 and 12. What do you say? Jeremiah 50 and 33. Yeah, that's a good precept too. That Judah and Israel are gonna be oppressed together. That's a good precept too.
Bring that up, please.
Which one?
50 and 33.
We can, yeah, you get that real quick.
Come, okay. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
You can keep going to
their Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon.
Man, so that land is not the land of Egypt, you know what I mean, which they think that it's just Egypt, that Egypt was quieted, that's why they're in their land. Nah, the land he's talking about as far as Babylon, that's America, that's Russia,
right?
That's, you know what I'm saying. I mean, technically it's America, you know what I mean. That's Babylon and Egypt. You know what I'm saying? You got some on?
That's a lot of pieces if I could, right? People overlook, like, that's why, you know, like the general always says, you know, you got to think practical. People actually think that when they hear Babylon and they hear Egypt, it's talking about a literal Babylon and a literal Egypt.
Right.
when people don't look at the fact that America is called Babylon.
Right.
America's called, you know what I mean? Spiritually, what is this? Spiritually Sodom and Egypt. And then the scriptures also say this, you know, people don't want to think practical when it says whatsoever was written aforetime was written for our learning.
Right.
So everything that took place in the past, you know, people want to discredit the Bible and say that already happened, but people don't understand it happened so that we learn something.
Right.
And apply it today.
Exactly. Exactly. Because everything that happened back then, as far as us, like Israel consistently keeps turning away from the Most High. You know what I'm saying? But look at the way we live right now. Look at how we see our people just shucking and jiving for our oppressors. You know what I'm saying? When you see Shaq and, you know what I mean, what's his name? One from the Suns, Charles Barkley. And when you see, you know what I mean, LeBron, and, you know what I mean, seeing their quotes on just trying to cover up and just be safe instead of being honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'd rather be safe than being honest. And teaching honesty should not be condemned as a violation or you breaking someone else's law. If you're not telling the truth, then what else? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So why is it that whole situation just shows of that characteristic is how our people are in general. Like you can't try to tell them they can't eat pork without them trying to damn near kill you about it. You know what I'm saying? Cut you off completely. Like, okay, this food is out of his mind. You can't tell them that it's not lawful to celebrate birthdays without them trying to cut you off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't give people this type of information without them, because of their love so much for Babylon and for our oppressors' ways. You know what I mean? Because it's just so easy to be safe. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell anybody anything. You know what I mean? Especially when you got these churches out here teaching you that you can live just as terrible as you want to live as long as you just ask for forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? So why people just want to play it safe? That's it. They want to take the safe route. And that's not what the Lord is saying. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is saying, you know what I'm saying, that first of all, we need to gather ourselves together. Not only do we need to get together, we need to get back into our covenant and get back into, and not only that, we need to be begging for forgiveness and acknowledging the fact that what we were doing was wrong. You know what I'm saying? What did they do in the time of Moses? You know what I'm saying? Was that the end of the book? No. You know what I mean? It kept going from there. Why? Because we continue to do, even in the book of Moses, we sat there and decided to try to build a golden calf. So we went back into doing the same wickedness that got us within the captivity. You know what I'm saying? We try to go back and do the same thing. So hold on real quick. Yeah, we got what do you call them? A heckler. Oh, but yeah, so it didn't just stop at during the time of Moses with us disobeying the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Even in the time of Adam and Eve, you know, what did Eve do? You know what I'm saying? Eve brought those same customs, and you know what I mean, Adam followed suit. And what do? We just continuously keep laying in bed with different gods, different cultures, different heathen customs, and keep on disobeying the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we continue to keep on getting into these positions of being conquered and being captive under a heathen oppressor. So now the Lord is giving these prophecies that, you know what I'm saying, that first of all, this is how you identify who God's true chosen people are, first of all. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't identify with somebody who's not. First of all, he said that he's going to leave Babylon inhabitants. You know what I'm saying? He's going to destroy Babylon first, and then he's going to put his people back in their land. You know what I'm saying? That has not happened yet. So the people who are in the land today are obviously not the identity of the 12 tribes. But let me get Jeremiah 3 and 12, so we can get back into the what is it? This is going off of what we read as far as in 3 and 1.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 and 7. I'm sorry.
3 and 7.
No. We're going to read 3 and 12, but this is what when we was reading 3 and 7. This is the opposite of what we was talking about.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 7. And I said, after she had done all these things, turned out unto me.
No, it's like 12.
Absolutely, Go, the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 12. Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, return down, backsliding Israel, saith the Lord, and I will not cause my anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, saith the Lord, and I will not keep anger forever.
Keep going.
Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against the Lord thy God, and hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree, and yea, have not obeyed my voice, saith the Lord. So
the Lord is saying that, he's merciful, and he's going to forgive us for the adultery that we caused. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't just say that, oh yeah, the Lord is going to cut us off from our sins. The Lord is going to cut us off from our sins, and we're going to be cut off forever. It doesn't say that. It says that the Lord is going to be merciful for what we did, and he's going to bring us back into the covenant. You know what I'm saying? And it's saying that, what was it saying? And had scattered the ways to the strangers under every green tree. Who are those strangers that he scattered our ways to? You know what I'm saying? Like people around the world are identifying themselves a child of God. You know what I'm saying? The God in the Bible. People around the world are identifying themselves. They said that all they have to do is just ask for forgiveness and believe that Jesus Christ existed and that he died for everybody's sins, that they all were going to be saved. You know what I'm saying? But that's not what the Bible's saying, though. The Bible's saying that the 12 tribes will be forgiven and they will be saved from the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So we get this within the prophecy. The Lord's going to take us back, and we're going to get back into the covenant as far as following the laws, statutes, and commandments, and being back into marriage with the Most High. You know what I'm saying? It's not saying that the whole world's going to be accepted within it as well. No, the Lord divorced us. He cut us off for committing adultery, and he's going to bring us back. And that's it. You know what I mean? Because he's forgiving and he's merciful. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that's saying. Where do we leave off at? On 14? Yeah, we're on 14.
Verse 14, turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
The Lord is married onto us. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think, you know what I mean, of the strength of having that mercy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you compare it to being cheated on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen people kill themselves over being cheated on. You know what I'm saying? Let alone taking that and being hurt and still having mercy on that nation and saying, I'm gonna bring you back. Even though you decided to commit adultery, you decided to lay with all these other gods and, you know what I mean, lay with all these different heathen cultures and all that stuff like that. I'm still gonna bring you in, and I'm not gonna be angry forever. You know what I'm saying? That's the true power right there. That's true mercy right there. Because we couldn't have that. We, like us as humans, we just couldn't be able to do anything like that. You know what I mean? Once it's over, it's over. You know what I mean? Once you show, especially as wicked as we've been, you know what I'm saying? As wicked as we've been to the Lord, like we just been completely just wicked and deserving of, you know what I mean, the captivity we've been under because of how terrible we've been towards him. You know what I'm saying? So that was 14. And we probably won't take it down to, yeah. You keep going on 15.
Verse 15, and I will give you pastors according to my heart.
Click on another one.
Which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
Keep on.
Verse 16, and it shall come to pass when ye be multiplied and increased in the land, in those days, saith the Lord, they shall say no more, the ark of the covenant of the Lord, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done anymore.
So the Lord is going to give us knowledge of who we are, about the captivity that we went in, about why we were punished. The Lord's going to give us that knowledge, and He's sending it out to the world today. Go ahead to 17.
At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all the nations shall be gathered unto it, to the name of the Lord, to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil heart.
Keep going on.
Verse 18. In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north, to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers.
So before we even get to 18, let's talk about 17 real quick, and let's talk about what did it say? At that time they should call Jerusalem. So this is during the time period. This is going after the day of the Lord's judgment, and Him putting us back at our seat on the throne. You know what I'm saying? Putting us back at our seat above all other nations, right? So at that time period, when you see, He's talking about in that day, in those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel. You know what I mean? So blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans will all be in the same unit. And imagine how great of a nation that would be. You know what I mean? Because of just how great we are as a people in general. Imagine how great a nation that would be with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans walking as brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? As one unit, knowing that we are part of the same nation, and not just that, knowing that we are God's true chosen people. We're out of that mindset of oppression, that state of oppression in society. You know what I mean? And now we're in position to be able to rule over all nations. He's saying in those days, the house of Judah and the house of Israel shall walk together, and they shall come together out of the land of the north. Where are we at right now?
Right.
So what do they call our territory now? We North America.
North America.
You know what I'm saying? So they should come out of the land of the north, to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. Where is the land of inheritance? I want real quick. Man, to Jerusalem. So who there right now? And did this happen yet? No, it didn't happen yet. But go ahead, I don't want you.
So a lot of us say, and that's heavy, because this also proves the 12 tribe chart true. I mean, I don't, what's that argument they always say, not to Zach? Oh, why? You notice how the 12 tribe chart, all the tribes in there are people that are in North America, the Americas.
Right. There it is right there. Even though we scattered,
right?
You know what I mean? We're scattered around the world, but the majority of God's chosen people are right here. You know what I'm saying? Right here. You know what I'm saying? The majority of God's people are right here in the land of the north. But right here in North America, you see God's chosen people, the 12 tribes of Israel. And all these things haven't came to pass yet. So the people who are in Jerusalem as we speak, if those things haven't came to pass, then who are they that are in that land right now? Those are the strangers. You know what I'm saying? Those are people who are in a land that was not established to them. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get our land back. We'll get our heritage back. We'll get our culture back. And we'll get all the things that was taken away from us during the time period of us being conquered. We'll get all those things back, because we've been conquered plenty of times. You know what I'm saying? So we're missing a lot of our history. I'm almost done. So let me just get one more precept and we up out of here. Let me get Revelations 21 and 9.
Book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 9. And there came unto me one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials full of the 7 last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will shew thee the bride, the Lamb's wife.
So who is the bride? We were just reading about that in Jeremiah chapter 3. The bride is Israel. You know what I'm saying? The bride is the 12 tribes. You know what I'm saying? We were the bride who committed adultery. So it's saying, I will show thee the bride, the lamb's wife. You know what I'm saying? So keep going.
And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and shewed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God.
Right. So he's showing him the kingdom that the Lord promised us in Jerusalem. Go ahead, keep going.
And he, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal.
Last one, verse 12.
And had a great wall, and a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
12 tribes of the children of Israel. Those are the gates. Not 13 tribes, not one tribe, but 12 tribes of the children of Israel. And that's what we fight for today. To get to our homeland, to get out of this oppression, and to get to those 12 gates. So we can be amongst our people, separated. Because it said the Holy Land. You know what I'm saying? The holy Jerusalem, not the open Jerusalem for everybody to come in and take capture of. This is the separate Jerusalem. This is going to be the Jerusalem that we occupy. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be the kingdom that we occupy. That's going to be the holy Jerusalem. So this is what we fight for today. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you get who the lost tribes are, being lost, our people not knowing who they are. You know what I'm saying? And getting back into our covenant, getting back into our culture, getting back together and getting back to our homeland and to our kingdom. It's good? Is it? You ain't got nothing, or you?
I mean, 12 tribes, 12 gates. I mean, put two and two together, man. You know what I mean? That should let people know, because I done heard Christians, like, this is a good one to use on the Christians. They want to say salvation's for everybody. So which gate are they going to go through? I think they try to graft themselves into Judah, but where in the Bible does it say Judah's going to take in, heathens?
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's about it, please.
All right, so with that, Shalom, Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, rock the thumb to the brothers, Yahweh Shamar, the thumb, Bashem Yahshai to the sisters. Water for tuning in.
Close it out.
Oh, yeah, you know.